welcome to Access. I'm Rob, and I'm joined today by role-playing expert David Jackson.
Hello. You full named me there, and is that so people can find me and tell me that I'm not a role-playing expert?
I gave you your official title, role-playing expert David Jackson.
That's a lie, Rob. You know I know nothing about role-playing games. If you want me to say that you're the expert, I'm not going to.
Oh, well, that's a shame. Well, this is Child of Light, and this is 5 reasons that I think you're going to love. Even you, Dave, a non-role-playing expert, is going to love this game. Reason number 1, the art style. When I brought this back into the office, Dave, I remember your first reaction going, wow, that looks very pretty.
Yeah, I was just like, what is that game? I want to play that game. I think it looks absolutely incredible.
It is beautiful.
The way her hair moves when she turns around and everything, it's just so beautiful. A
little bit of background on Child of Light. It's made by Ubisoft. It uses side-scrolling, uses the same engine as Rayman Legends. You can probably see some kind of artistic similarities between the two games, whereas Rayman Legends was more cartoonish. This has a much more of a storybook feel to the art style, and that's because it uses actual hand-drawn assets. All those backgrounds you see there have been hand-drawn by artists, Dave, and then just put into the game.
You can see
so it's like you're flying through a storybook.
You can see the watercolour, can't you? You can see how it's all been just sort of lovingly done in watercolour.
I mean, look at the parallax scrolling there. The way the parallax scrolling works
really nice.
is just beautiful in this world.
And that bit earlier where we saw a giant in the background was just incredible.
It feels almost like the same kind of sense you get in Dark Souls, where you're just kind of journeying through this very mysterious world, and you're just finding out about it through old bits of stuff that you find littered around, like that giant walking along the background, these ruins here that you're exploring. And it is absolutely beautiful to look at. Reason number 2 is the dialogue, which is really unique. It's got the writer on this game, Jeffrey O'Harlem, also wrote Far Cry 3, and this is probably as far away from Far Cry 3 as you can possibly get.
Is it a far cry from that game?
It's a far cry from Far Cry, but he's written it like a poem. All the dialogue sort of rhymes, and it has a rhythm to it. Wow. And I was just thinking, you know, I struggle when I write like a 1,000 word feature.
Don't I know it?
He's got to write an entire game.
And it's got to rhyme.
And it doesn't have to rhyme, I don't think, but quite a lot of it does rhyme if you read the dialogue here.
Yeah.
But imagine just doing that for an entire game. But it also really contributes to that whole kind of children's storybook feel, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Alice Through the Looking Glass. It's got that kind of childlike innocence to it with a sinister undertone. And the third reason, Dave, is the battle system, which got me instantly excited, because recently I've been playing Final Fantasy X HD on the Vita, and it reminded me how much I really love old school turn-based battle systems. There seems to be this kind of perceived notion with role-playing games of late that it's real-time or bust. It has to be real-time combat. Oh, in a modernised RPG, it's got to be real-time.
Yeah.
Which I strongly disagree with. And Child of Light happily has a really brilliant turn-based battle system. If you look there, Dave, there's that bar down the bottom. The blue half says wait, and the red half says cast. And there's symbols on the top. That's you, and you'll have other party members later on in the game. At the bottom, you've got your enemies. And that little red area is a cast area. If you see, Aurora's just interrupted that guy there. When you get to the cast section, you can choose like a powerful magical attack, but that might take a long time to charge up. Or you can choose like a quick stab with your sword, which gets executed much quicker. And say an enemy is like halfway through casting a really powerful magic spell, and it becomes your go. You know, usually in role-playing games, you'll get to your go and you'll just use the most powerful move you've got straight away. But with this, it kind of encourages you to think a lot more about it. Like, you can, if you see here, he's got in there and he's knocked that enemy back. If you saw that, he knocked his attack back. So it pays to think about what you're doing.
Quite interesting, because it is turn-based, but there's like a sort of time element to it where you can nip in and do things. And
there's the spells you can use that can increase your speed. And the battle system is almost exactly like Grandia 2, a game I know you know loads about, Dave.
Yeah, I love that. It's really grandiose, that one.
Yes.
Good one, that.
Grandia 2 was a PS2 RPG, and I think still to this day it has my favourite battle system of any role-playing game. And the fact they've pretty much copied it. I mean, the creative director, Patrick Plord, we did an interview with him already on our channel. You can see that interview. He wasn't afraid of saying, yeah, we took Grandia 2's battle system because it was so good. And it really does It works brilliantly, and I'm really, really excited to play it. Reason number 4, Dave, is that you can play co-op as well. Did you know that?
I had no idea about that.
This little Firefly guy here, you can control him using the right stick or using the touchpad on the DualShock 4, but also a second DualShock 4 can come in and control him.
Right.
And then that player can, well, you can use him to solve puzzles like this. He also can collect items for you. And in battle as well, as you'll see here, he can slow enemies down by hovering over them and holding L2.
That's cool.
And similarly, he can hover over you and heal you.
Right.
So he's like a little aid in battle. And I think the idea was that you can play with like your kids. Like it's a game you can play, and you can just go along playing it, and they can control the little Firefly, and they can collect all the items and help out in battle and stuff like that.
That's nice.
So it's just a really, I think it's really nice.
Yeah,
it's just a really friendly way to do it. And my final reason, Dave, and I'm going to get a bit sentimental here, is that this just feels like an RPG that has been made by fans of RPGs for fans of RPGs.
Yeah.
Like Patrick Plord, if you watch his interview, he said, you know, he's used Grandia 2's battle system. He's also influenced by Final Fantasy X in terms of how the party works. Like when you get your full complement, I think there are 6 people you can have in your party. You'll be able to use them all in battle at the same time. Just don't have to just pick 3. And just the way it honours that kind of turn-based feel. I mean, as a man who hasn't played very many RPGs, Dave, what do you think about turn-based combat?
I must admit that I was very, I don't want to say anti-turn-based, but sort of, you know, it seemed a little bit weird and boring and numbers that I couldn't be bothered with and stuff. However, that all changed for me, Rob, when I played South Park. And I loved that turn-based, and then that made me really excited about this, because I finally, I guess it was the first time I'd properly played a turn-based combat system, and I really liked it. I thought it was really deep and clever, and there was a lot of skill involved. Yeah, and this looks like that, but on the next level again. And it's just such a beautiful looking game. I really can't wait to play it.
And it's also important to remember that what we're seeing here is footage from the first 4 chapters of the game. So all the spells are kind of the basic entry level spells. So I imagine when you get further and further into it, and your, you know, spells get more and more sophisticated, the level of strategy you'll be able to implement in battle will get really amazing, and that's the thing I'm really excited about. So have I made you interested, Dave?
You've made me very interested. I don't know what like a word for very interested is. Really, really excited. I can't wait. I just want to float around in there. They look great.
I know you can fly. You can fly as well. Why didn't we mention that? You can fly.
Yeah, that's a 6th reason.
Yeah, 6. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to check out our interview with Patrick Plord. That's on the channel already, and for loads of awesome videos across PS4, PS3 and PS Vita.